Good evening. Namaste, namaskaram. This book, and therefore this reading, this video presentation, was created with the purpose of propelling the spiritual development of human beings who read it with attention. This transformation is happening as a consequence of the diverse geomagnetic and universal changes that are occurring in present times. The changes have already begun. After 2013, the world entered parallel dimensions of transformative energy and will experience ascending vibrational frequencies until the coming of the year 2095. From 2013 to 2095, humanity will be subject to the experience of a very powerful evolutionary process that will change the face of the earth. At first, this book will read as we are used to, from left to right. After this section, there will be a second part where the writing is arranged in a spiral. This system will deeply penetrate the psyche, modifying and restructuring electromagnetic frequencies within the reader, which in turn changes and enlivens the DNA and RNA strands that are currently dormant. Every word written here will instill radiant light in the cerebral neurons and neurotransmitters, opening intercellular portals. Every sentence that you read in this book or here, and every letter you see, directly sees the energy arranging chromosome combinations in the physical body. In the astral dimension, these words activate very fine energetic filaments that are attached to DNA strands and coat the meridian channels with crystallized spirals of light. In the causal or spiritual bodies, reading this book will open the gates to the soul, giving it access to new horizons of perception in 9 parallel dimensions, as well as the possibility of absorbing higher vibration nutrient sources that are streams of living astral liquid light. This book is a gift from beings inhabiting parallel universes. They describe themselves as the 9 Devas of crystalline atomic fire, known as the Seraphim in the West. They are not to be confused with the Council of 9. Their only purpose is to reactivate the evolution of the human race. Their work begins by the process of transmuting the causal body that encases destiny, followed by the transformation of the astral body, the energy body with thousands of meridians, keeper of emotions, to finally culminate with a complete physical transfiguration. The transmitted frequencies won't be felt strongly at first. However, you will feel some emotional effect generated by the debris this cleansing leaves behind. Once the body is free of these emotional fragments, brilliant vibrations will embrace the nervous system in the form of pleasurable and/or ascending tingling sensations. At other times, ecstatic waves will flood the entire body. If the nervous system is not yet strong enough, the reader will feel small tremors or even experience internal seizures along the spine. These nervous reactions derive themselves directly from the neurocellular system. As you read, you will encounter many physics and chemistry terms. If you don't understand, do not worry. The magic will still touch your soul. Try to read all the words carefully to bring forth the desired effect within your 3 bodies. There are many other celestial beings apart from the 9 working in unison with this book. These beings, the authors of this book, have committed to help and oversee the transformation process that takes place while you read. They will profoundly affect your nervous system cells, or neurons, whose main feature is to transmit and captivate electromagnetic pulses. They use the neuron's hyperreceptive plasmatic membrane, which is also capable of absorbing subtle astral vibrations to communicate with you and transform you. In other words, these sweet ethereal beings take advantage of the cell receptivity, the electrical impulses, the stimuli of the neurons, and their capacity to conduct themselves as impulses, to introduce interdimensional messianic fibers that easily become one with the electrical impulses. That is interdimensional messianic, like the Messiah, fibers, Christ fibers that easily become one with the electrical impulses. In this way, the plasmatic membrane assimilates them. With these energy exchanges, we also influence the neuromuscular synapses directly where the junction between the axon and the effector is located. This forces the melanic fiber and the terminal plates to vibrate with continuous lightning-like impulses that slowly change the structure of these presynaptic terminals. This indirectly affects the sarcolemma or myolemma, the synaptic vesicle, the nicotinic receptor, and the mitochondria. If the myelin is thin, the body will experience tremors. This is an adjustment phase to allow these transformations. However, the 9 Devas of crystalline fire will stimulate the myelin to thicken it, enabling the body to advance further ahead on this evolutionary process. The brilliant 9 are Devas of transparent fire and are responsible for the changes this book will set in motion. Their work begins by subtly changing the space between the end plate of a neuron and the muscle fiber membrane known as the primary synaptic cleft with solar radiation, which acts as a cushion. The angstroms tend to duplicate due to the incandescent lighting of the Devas of transparent, ultra-bright atomic fire. At the cellular level, the light is processed by the potential energy until it penetrates the synaptic cleft, generating an intercellular realignment that forces the release of the neurotransmitter known as acetylcholine. The acetylcholine is transformed instantly after its emancipation by tiny cyclones of ultra-incandescent light, which are associated with the contraction of the muscle cells on the astral plane. Gradually, the body will overproduce these light-powered neurotransmitters. They will emerge as pure crystal flowers in the large ocean of the mitochondria. In this way, curing the terminal ends of the axons that were previously embraced by denser shadows. As a direct consequence of this cleansing process, light tremors might occur in some cases. Do not worry. If you start to shake, this is normal, transient, and intermittent. It will only last for a few days. In the folds of the muscle membrane, there are lively and intelligent enzymes called acetylcholinesterase. The Devas use these enzymes to destabilize the acetylcholine. Employing this enzyme, they entwine them together with tempestuous light and swirl them together to transmute the neurotransmitter into luminous choline, an acetate of a higher nature. The choline then is reinserted into the presynaptic terminal, drastically changing its rubric signature. This process bestows a sense of tranquility upon the person. Part of the discarded acetylcholine bears a form of antagonistic energetic resin that was implanted by the forces of the nebula. The opposite force are energies of devolution, the dark side, the dark cabal, the Illuminati, the forces of the nebula. This waste will be reused beyond the synaptic field to create a depurated energy source that will be used in a further phase to feed certain nerve endings. The other face of the acetylcholine will reach the muscle membrane, just as lightning strikes the surface of the ocean during a storm, resulting in a calming effect over the muscle contractions. When the 9 Devas inject their luminous beam, the acetylcholine, in conjunction with the enzyme process, will degrade the molecule into 3 components. As a result, the neurotransmitter will have minimal contact with the dark and impure membrane receptors, allowing the Devas to create a chain reaction of incandescent light without any overstimulation or sustaining injury to the muscle fiber. What I am trying to say is that the luminous beings are experts at what they do and will not affect your neurological or neurobiological body negatively in any way. The changes will begin to be felt by everyone in different grades. The Devas will give the humans as much as they can handle, and this varies in degree. It all depends on how the human treats his or her body. Try to make your system strong and healthy, and you will receive higher amounts of power. There is a factor of sobriety and protection when given a transfer of energy, since the nerve could be affected by impulses out of the norm. The Devas are eager to help and give you everything they have, but will never put 2,000 volts in nerves that can handle only 100 volts. This will be an intense process for some and easy for others. Everything depends on how sensitive the person is. The normal frequency of neuron stimulation in the astral realms is 150 times per minute, and the beings of light increase it up to 300 per minute without allowing the natural decline of neurotransmitters released into the synaptic gap. The changes will take place first in the causal and astral bodies, and then slowly will flood the entire physical body. Well, that was the introduction. Now, here is the introduction by the Devas. The first introduction I read was from the author Matias. Now, here's the introduction from the Nine. And here we go, folks. In the three-dimensional field of perception, in which time and space seem to be real, periodically things are bound to change and are often subject to radical adjustments to protect sentient beings against the delusion of being a separate entity. This book was created and designed with the purpose of opening the door to the unknown and helping human beings to connect with us, as well as to cross the ocean of illusion by the drastic modifications in their physical, astral, and causal bodies that we will make. It is, and it always was possible for humanity to transcend duality. However, the present human body has many flaws, and this makes humanity's spiritual evolution a difficult task. But now we are at the verge of a new era in which illusory time is speeding up, and consequently, progress towards real freedom is here and now. This book is part of this universal progress, along with many other gifts that are already promoting change all around. We all know that science is not capable of explaining or connecting spirit, mind, and matter. It seems that physics can't find the equations to explain that what a simple thought actually is. Quantum mechanics also tries to elucidate on this paradigm, but this is also impossible because in order to fully understand the spiritual dimension, humans need a brain that is wired in a completely different way. Spirit is the substratum, and the substratum is spirit itself. The modifications that this book stimulates are done at the substratum of what you call reality. Such modifications at this level make the realm of the dreamed atomic universe seem more unreal. When we make a modification at this substratum, simultaneously the composite and elementary particles that you know begin to behave in a different manner. Sometimes these alterations seem to change and also provoke modifications of the atom itself and the atomic constitution of things. Please understand, when scientists begin to see the changes that we expound upon in this book, which in the past were thought to be impossible, that these changes are happening inside of the great mind, and that they are just changes in the collective dream, that the atoms and subatomic particles are nothing more than non-existent pieces of mental information that adopt unimaginable sets of combinations to create multiple galaxies and even universes with mental or imagined rules and laws. You accepted these rules as physical commandments. These can be broken at any moment in time by one who understands the dream as it is. This book is part of the magic of change, a change that is now taking place at the foundations of existence, where the concluding bases simply exist. Reality is gradually apprehended by the empty mind and not by the thinking process. Cleansing the windows of perception is all humans must do to break free from the slavery of the illusion of separation. We emphasize and encourage you to leave desires behind and to become one with expansion. An unvarying awareness of the present moment is the only hope to live life with no fear. By presence in the present moment, and you will be eternally free. Be present in the present moment, and you will be eternally free. This book will help you shift your focus from your ambitions, purposes, and objectives, since there is no need for them, to a new horizon in which everything is possible, where there is abundance everywhere, and at the same time, nothing really matters anymore. The self-image you are misidentified with, which walks proud with its assumed identity and tries to modify whatever it encounters, maneuvering all situations to its own benefit, unscrupulously adjusting to each situation to survive, never relaxed or tranquil, will slowly crumble. Memory that gives the feeling of I, an I that has an invisible base of inexistent thought matter, wants to survive and is ready to fight to be part of the deceptive illusion, will also crumble as you read this book with attention. The feeling of being disconnected is associated with humanity's amplified aptitude to imagine conceptualized, intangible conditions and stipulations that create separation in the midst of unity. An intellect that constantly seeks commotion to keep the sense of being separate grows to be tactless and spellbound, and in this way becomes a slave of its creation. But by comprehending its own egocentric behavior, the mind encounters a state of wakeful alertness. Humans are believed to be a mass of contradictory feelings and thoughts. This is not true, and we will prove this. The vital nucleus of the human being is the sense of the individual I, and if there is no reaction to outside impute, this individual sense of I will succumb. Thus, being present in the present will conquer all notions of division. Do not be a victim of your fears and wishes. Surrender to what is and stop trying to control your field of action. Do not try to alter your world. Give up the resistance, make no demands, yield, relax, and read. You are the space in which your body, together with these feelings you feel, these sounds you hear, these thoughts you think, and these emotions you experience rest upon. The Celestial Nine. Namaste, namaskaram. We will pick back up with chapter 1 here shortly, folks.